Tippy time, my damies, and welcome back to Reviewedly Interrupted with me, your host, Pootie Tang. This is episode, holy shit, season 2, episode 12. Ain't that something? We're just moving right along now. And this is my big ol' takeaway from the zombie, aka Zombie with just an I, no E, aka Zombie Flesh Eaters franchise. That's right, folks. Yeah. You're like, dude, there's so many movies. Yeah, I know, I got multiple copies of shit. Deal with it. And this isn't even complete because I want to get the Arrow one of zombie that just says like Zombie Flesh Eaters. So it's like I got 3 of them that just go Zombie Flesh Eaters, Zombie Flesh Eaters 2, 3. Yeah, that would be fun for me. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. And even yeah. And even a Zombie 3, like this is Zombie 3, even like no, I got Zombie 3. I got one of, no, I'm so confused, just so many. Anyway, fuck it. But yeah, you know, let's go over a little bit of stats here. Zombie comes out in 1979, rated R, 1 hour, 31 minutes. Zombie 3 comes out in 1988. 9 years later, rated R again, 1 hour, 24 minutes late, a little shorter. These are like actually kind of short movies, around an hour and a half. They're like quick little pshaw. Zombie 4 comes out in 1989, a year later. It is unrated, and we are still at an hour and 24 minutes. Zombie 5 comes out in 1988, the same year as Zombie 3. Weird. We'll get into that kind of stuff. Not rated, and we're back up to an hour and 32 minutes. Some of the cast members over the course of the franchise: Tisa Farrow, Ian McCulloch, Al Cliver, Aretta Gay, Richard Johnson, Darren Sarafian, Beatrice Ring, Ottaviano Del Acqua, Jeff Stryker. Who we'll get into that a little bit. I forgot about it when I did the other review because I was just reviewing the movie. Candice Daly, Massimo Vanni, Lara Wendell, Robert Vaughn, Leslie Cumming. Some of the directors: Lucio Fulci, Claudio Fragasso, Claudio Lattanzi. And Fragasso actually was like kind of with, we talked about it kind of with Zombie 3, or with, with Zombie 3, kind of not. It was a weird thing. But, let's go over first. I got some notes here, but I wanna do something else first than what I put down. First, let's go over just like, the names. Just how it's like Zombie, and then it's also Zombie 2. Oh wait, no, that's distribution. Never mind. Fuck it. I'll go in order of my notes. It's a lot better that way. I'll be able to keep track of myself because I'll fucking start wandering off. I won't know what the fuck I'm doing. First, I want to talk about how it's anthology-like. It doesn't really follow like a regular scene of like one picks up where the other left off. We don't really have that. We don't have characters, like specific characters that carry over at all either. It's like how I'm going to be doing the Hellraiser franchise. It's like there's at least characters that carry on, even if not every movie follows, like it either follows right after the movie or has a callback to those specific earlier movies, so it's kind of a weird anthology, like, yet they're all part of the zombie franchise, which is just craziness. I gotta throw this out there because I don't know if it's something that anybody else has noticed, but the Mist/Fog as a character, it is in every single movie. That might be the only thing that other than some zombies, that might be the only other thing that ties any of these movies together. Zombies and at some point some kind of strange supernatural mist or fog comes out of nowhere, and it's like, oh shit, some shit's about to go down. There's fog. That means zombies. I don't know. Maybe it's almost like a shout out to The Fog. John Carpenter. I don't know, but I just know that like it's in every movie. And also like the music is great in all these movies. I love the music. It's like from, Fulci's classic, which just has some of the most classic zombie themes. Oh, Those were getting better and they're getting worse again. I don't know what to tell you people. Oh, mustache. But yeah, fucking like from the original, just like all the little themes, they're just classic. They get stuck in your head. They're hypnotic and they're great and they're just of the time and classic. If you love that genre, like 80s, like I'd say mid 70s to mid 80s, even like late 80s, early 90s Italian horror. It's like the music is just, especially that older shit. It's just so classic, you know, and I just love the music and all of it, all the way up into the Killing Birds, which I talked about, where it was just like, even though it was one guy did the music for the whole thing, it sounds like they just got different musicians to play songs. It's so fucking wild. We'll get into a little bit more about that movie when I talk about some stuff. The distribution of the name, just how it's like, you know, we talked about it. You know, the zombie, but zombie 4, zombie 5, but it's also zombie flesh eaters and Zombie 3. That's the one I gotta get. I gotta get another copy of that so I can have Zombie 3. Because I'm silly like that. So I can have a Blu-ray that says Zombie 3 also. And I also gotta get a 4K of Zombie. I don't have 4K of Zombie yet. What the fuck is wrong with me? That's gonna look fucking amazing in 4K. And I cannot wait to get it in 4K. But just the distribution is so wild with these. I mean, it was so crazy back then because, you know, it's like there was the American market, which was like, you know, probably the forerunner because, you know, we had Hollywood and all this other shit and they're just pumping shit out like constantly and they got the money to do it. And then you got Italy, which, you know, has had a movie industry for a while, but it was how even like some of them have described it. It's like if you weren't doing something very artsy, then you weren't getting any money. You know, genre films maybe got some cash for a while, especially like maybe somebody like Sergio Leone, who's like, you know, a fucking brilliant director. You know, he was probably getting some more money. I know Argento was definitely getting some bigger checks while Fulci was the genre director and wasn't. So it was very like kind of shitty back then as far as like, you know, some more like what they call genre flicks like horror and western and stuff like that weren't as taken seriously by the Italian market. And so, so you had motherfuckers out there trying to do distribution deals that were hustling, you know? Especially this like after they made their way overseas, like the zombie flesh eaters thing having to do with, like, I think that was in Britain where they started changing names for shit, you know? And so it's just like, you know, and so things got really wild. There's a lot of other, like, I know that I'm pretty sure if you check the Wikipedia, there's other movies that are loosely affiliated with the zombie thing. So the distribution was wild, but even though it was wild, names of movies got changed, flipped around, this and that, different cuts. It's still, what was awesome is that these movies made it out there across the world to like fans of the horror genre, and it was like bringing something completely new because we had some good stuff going on over here, but like the stuff that was coming out of Europe was pretty intense and pretty cool, especially out of Italy. Little tidbits I learned. One thing I learned is that in Zombie 5 Killing Birds, which I watched the special features, they don't even refer to it as Zombie 5 at all in any of the interviews. Possibly, I didn't watch the audio commentary yet, but possibly on that, I'm sure they do at some point. It's got to come up. Maybe, I don't know, because in any of the other shit, not one of them called it Zombie 5. It was called Killing Birds. It was called Raptors, you know, and that was it. And, you know, it's still being distributed in Italy as Raptors, you know, being sent overseas being Killing Birds, and, you know, and then all of a sudden, you know, lumped in with the zombie franchise. Fucking wild. But just different things I learned, you know. It's like one of the tidbits was like, you know, the Italian movie industry, how it was back then, and just learning things about like how Joe D'Amato had a big part to play in Killing Birds, you know, and he's done so much shit. He was like I want to say almost like the Roger Corman of fucking Italy, you know, because he was like putting out so many movies. He was like in charge of and distributing and getting out there like so many movies and so many different genres. I know it's like he's really known for his like soft core shit and everything, but it's like I'm not really interested in his Emmanuel movies, but like Anthropophagus, Anthropophagus, whatever. That movie is fucking great. Like I really love his horror movies, and I also want to watch more of his like action and science fiction kind of fantasy like stuff. Like I want to see that, but I'm not too worried about his like softcore porn or anything. But like Joe D'Amato was involved in that, and I want to say. I really enjoy watching special features, especially interviews, because you do learn stuff, especially like, how people felt on the set, how the set was, get different takes. Like even watching the interviews about Fulci, some people loved him, some people hated him, and it all depended on like, how the personalities meshed, and sometimes it was just a matter of like, they were just different people, and that's why they didn't mesh, they didn't get each other. And plus like the language barrier didn't help a lot of the times. But, I was kind of sad watching the Killing Birds ones, the interviews, because I think like I love when they get into the movie they're actually being interviewed for, and there wasn't a lot about Killing Birds, unfortunately. So 88 films, like you put out a great spectacular Blu-ray and everything. Just in the future when you interview people and you put it on a Blu-ray for a specific movie, please just like stop them from rambling and have them focus on the movie. There was a little bit of talk and I did learn some stuff about it, but like the interview with the special effects guy on Killing Birds, it's like he spent most of his time just talking about how much he had fun hanging out with Joe D'Amato. That was it. That was most of what he fucking talked about it. And it was like, cool, man, you guys were friends. This is an interview for Zombie 5 Killing Birds, aka Raptors, aka Killing Birds, aka blah, 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 whatever. Can we talk about that? Like kind of some of the stuff you did on it? That would have been pretty cool. So I don't know. I think it was just a missed opportunity. But regardless, like I said, it's my fucking my guilty pleasure in the zombie franchise, and it was so awesome to see it in HD. So regardless of anything else, the movie is on Blu-ray, HD, looks beautiful. So still 88 Films is awesome for fucking putting that shit out there. So it's like, even if the interviews were a little off for me and weren't what I was expecting, we'll just say, regardless of that, it's like a beautiful transfer in HD, and it's awesome, and I love the packaging, and it's beautiful, and it's so great. And then let's talk about the overall like zombie franchise versus Romero's zombies. Now you see, Romero's zombies stay like, if you not any remakes or reboots or any kind of bullshit, just straight up the Romero zombie movies. The zombies are all like, all very good makeup, and you see them like, it's kind of funny during Dawn of the Dead when they're bluish, but it's like you imagine corpses to be a little blue before they start to decay, because doesn't that kind of happen? It's like there's like this whitish bluishness that happens or something. So it was kind of cool they were doing something different, but the zombies are always slow. They're always just straight people, what they were buried in, died in, decaying. While in this, the style, type, and look of these zombies compared is fucking great. They always did something different than part of the anthology thing, where it's just like anthology feeling, where it's just like, you had your normal kind of zombies in the first one. There were, and the makeup just always looks, I don't know, it's so raw. I guess that's what you could say. It's like the makeup in Romero movies, especially as time went on, like they got really fucking good. Like Land of the Dead is just like, the shit is great. The makeup is great. But like the Italian ones, it always looked really raw. There was something raw about it. There was no refined. It wasn't like, I wouldn't say less realistic, but just like just done in this totally different way than, what was going on in America with a lot of like it's decaying and everything, but these were like oozy, fleshy, it was so great. I really love the look of it. So it's like, and even the different types of zombies. There was, of course, like main zombies in Romero movies, but this had very specific ones. Like the shark fighting zombie. There's the fucking machete zombie. There's fucking zombies shooting machine guns, talking, conversing. You got these like zombies that are just wrapped in shrouds and jumping around. There's like a karate one, I think, at one point. It's wild. You got these real different kinds of fucking zombies, and it's just like, I like it. And how there's a different outbreak in each film. You know, it's like how each outbreak starts is just a little different, you know, and it goes along with that anthology thing. That's why it's like these weren't specifically made to be a series. That's how you could tell it was just like some of these movies, especially Killing Birds, were just lumped in. You know, you throw it with an already established name, you try to make money off it. Like I said, they were trying to hustle back then. They were trying to make some money, dude. It was tough. So they were doing what they could, make a few bucks. And it's like, I wouldn't say they were ripping people, like, I'm saying as far as like the viewers, you know, I wouldn't say that they were ripping anybody off by changing the name, because you were still getting the same product. Of course, at that time, there was different cuts of things coming out because of different ratings and blah, blah, blah. But I just mean that, you know, you're still getting the same film. It's like, so distribution shit that, I don't know, like how bad deals were and everything like that. You know, some people would talk about sometimes the deals weren't that great here and there, but, you know, the fans didn't get ripped off. Italian 80s zombies versus other 80s zombies. It goes back to like how I was talking about the rawness of the look. There was this look because, you know, they didn't have like this super big budget or these super big, like a lot of these movies were made on like very tight schedules with very tight budgets, you know? So they're like, and the shit that they made though is just fucking great. The effects they came up with are just brilliant. They look amazing. Of course, they look like sometimes they look lower quality. You know, they definitely look kind of fake or faker than some stuff that might have been coming out in like zombie movies over here. But the rawness of it just makes it even more like kind of disgusting in a way, you know? So it's like these tight budgets, tight schedules, and just the looks of the effects that they came up with are great. Like all the way through, even from the first one, all the bites and the tears and everything, you know, all that stuff was very, very cool. Oh yeah, one of the tidbits. One thing that also stands out that maybe what makes Zombie 5 Killing Birds, even though it makes no sense and Robert Vaughn's kind of goofy in it and all this other kind of shit, is I noticed when I was watching, I was like, this definitely has a different kind of style and feel to it, regardless of all the other differences to the other movies. And it's like the director, Claudio Lattanzi, was totally influenced in his early work by Dario Argento. Like Dario Argento is what got him into like wanting to work on movies and be a director and everything else. So that you do get some of this Argento suspense in there and look and everything else. So I mean, he was definitely wearing like his influences on his sleeves, like both of them, you know, because he wasn't just wearing them on one sleeve, both sleeves, you know. But you could really see it there. But I mean, he definitely puts his own spin on it, which is cool. And I mean, and the Italian 80s zombies, there was something, I don't know, I don't want to say evil or darker, badder, but they were ruder, man. There was something just different about those Italian zombies. I mean, they were savage. I mean, yes, the fucking American zombies were savage, especially when you get all the way up into the 90s, like what we got here, 89. Like when we're starting to get up into the 90s, when we started getting into the Return of the Living Deads and shit like that, where it was like, those were some hardcore zombies and shit too. You know, and they started in the 80s. Those were some, like the effects and just the bites and everything, that was some good shit too. But like the rawness and just like the soullessness of these zombies is just something else. It's just the way they did it was just, I don't know how to explain it. They were less, I don't know how to, it's like, what kind of word do you come up with? Not glamorous or something like that. They were less, I don't know, they had a different vibe to them. That's the only way I think I can fucking explain it. Is like they had a different fucking vibe, dude. There was just something a little more off about these zombies, and they seemed more like dead people running around, and like especially in the first one Fulci made, they feel more like real dead people. Oh man. And then my overall take on the franchise is I fucking love this franchise. You know, loosely still calling it a franchise. I fucking love it. I mean, look, man, I've sat there and I remember I got Zombie first, and then I like found these DVD copies at like an FYE, you know, one at a time. They were just all of a sudden there, and I picked them up and I watched them, and I fell in love with it, especially After Death. That fucking song, like I said, it's my favorite of the franchise. But it's just a really great time capsule also. You know, if you're a horror fan and you like watching a lot of American slashers, which there were a plethora of them coming out around that time, and some fucking amazing, great classic ones, cult classic, fucking some of the low budget, just gnarlier shit. There was a lot of great shit. But like there was something different about Italy. The stuff coming out of Italy was, I don't know, like I said, raw. That you could feel it. There was no like, even though there was time and money constraints, there wasn't this desperation. What they still put out was like this top quality fucking product. They did the absolute best they could with what they had, and even pushed themselves further to try to get the absolute best, because, you know, they knew that they weren't going to get the type of money and budgets that some of those other directors were going to get. They knew that because they were genre directors, it was going to probably stay around there. But they still were making a name for themselves because people were paying attention. Horror fans were paying attention. People were paying attention, you know? And so this franchise really stands out to me just because it's so haphazard and so wild, anthology-like, and yet supposed to be a franchise. Nothing really tying them together. The fifth movie doesn't even belong, but is still there. It's just one of those things where not just a time capsule of what the movies looked like back then and everything else, but just also a time capsule of like distribution, you know? And I think that they still these days, like when I was watching the interview, even though it was like the interviews for Killing Birds took place a little bit after COVID, I guess, or right at the tail end of COVID or something. So they were talking about that time, around that time, and one guy, the director, Latanzi, he was actually coming out with a new movie around that time, and he said that, like, you know, if it was distributed somewhere else, they'd probably change the name to something else, and you know, so I guess like name changes still happen, and I guess it makes sense because, you know, different markets, different names might hit different. That's a lot of saying different. Higgledy-biggledy. That's all I gotta say. It's a little bit of the higgledy-biggledy, but I do love this franchise. The time capsule of everything, and especially watching all the special features, which was so much fun. The special features, the commentaries, I still got to watch. I got a couple commentaries I still got to watch, but yeah, I really, really enjoy these movies. They're great, especially if you want to start getting, if you're already into Fulci and want to branch out and learn about some more directors and stuff. I mean, the sequel's great. Like I said, Claudio Fragasso and fucking Joe D'Amato, and I think Bruno Matteo is supposed to be a part of Zombie 3, but I don't think he really had anything really to do with that. Watching the special features, it was like, didn't really sound like he touched that. Maybe he did a little second camera and stuff, but I don't think he did, as far as I can remember. I think it turned out that he really didn't do anything. But or you just want to get, like, you're a new to horror or a newer to horror and want to find more stuff, you know, you're like, you know, you're wading your way through like the big name stuff, the Exorcists, the Halloweens, you know, you're going through those and you're like, I want something, I want to branch out, I want to go a little further. This is a great place to start because, I mean, it'll really open your eyes to Italian horror. And I mean, if you're into the like less artsy Dario Argento stuff, this is a great place to go. And it's like, but Argento is great. Like his early stuff is fucking amazing. Eventually I'll do more of his shit. But yeah, so I think I've signed your pity on the runny kind pretty good about this. And you know, it's like, fucking in the comments, tell me what you think about the franchise or each of the movies. If there's one movie where you're like, yeah, man, or if there's a little tidbit, you know, go ahead and like comment some shit. Fuck it, dude. Yeah. But next episode, I will be starting a new franchise. I'm not sure how many franchises I'm going to go through before I switch it up and then come back to franchises later. But my next franchise I'm going to do is the Hellraiser franchise. It's going to get a little tricky around debtor. I left my DVD copy out in California, and the Blu-ray is non-existent unless you want to pay out the ass for it, like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And I'm not going to buy another DVD copy of it, so I'll have to find it streaming or something. But stay tuned, because the next episode will be Hellraiser, and I will begin that franchise. So until next time, fuckers, this has been Pootie Tang with Reviewedly Interrupted, giving you all the current news on what the hell I have to say about some shit this time. Alright, later. Is that the button? I think so. Don't